Welcome to the Unbottled Podcast, the show where each week we go behind the label of dietary supplement manufacturing. In today's show, we're talking about private label versus custom formulas.
Well, before we get started, we have a question that was submitted by a viewer, and they asked, how do you pick which is best for my brand? Retail versus direct-to-consumer versus like an omni-channel, like all of the above.
All the channels.
Yeah.
Are you saying retail like Walmart?
That's what I'm guessing they meant. It's funny because I kind of pictured retail as Amazon, Walmart, da-da-da-da. Direct-to-consumer, I've always kind of considered, like you said, you have a brand and you've got an audience and you are going to them through your website.
Retail a lot of times has a lot of qualifications that you probably should know in advance. Like if you want to go into a Whole Foods, you should design your product on the forefront knowing that they don't want these particular ingredients in there or they want this. So it's kind of good to know where you're kind of focusing your product to go retail wise. And Walmart probably take anything under the sun. I don't know. But it's just a little trickier. And then your margins are super slim, but you're going to hopefully make up for it in volume because you're in a big place.
Well, I have a question for Stephanie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not asking Stephanie. Not asking Stephanie because I think you're a shopaholic or anything. I'm asking Stephanie just because you're on the couch. I'd like to know an example of something that you buy direct from a consumer or somebody that you're okay going to Amazon and just buying.
To be honest, lots of times if I don't know a brand, I'll go to their website first and I'll check it out. And then I go back to Amazon to see if they're selling there. And most times I do order from Amazon just because it's fast shipping and it'll be there in the next day or next 2 days. That's typically my behavior as a consumer.
You know, it depends too.
Yeah, I think
some people are early adopters, right? They just want something new and it could maybe have 0 ratings, but they're kind of like, I like to try new things. And they're just like, I'm going to be the first to try this and tell you how awesome it was. We used to have friends like that in high school that were like, they loved a backyard grunge band. And as soon as they became mainstream, well, I don't like Pearl Jam anymore. You're like, what? They're singing the same songs you liked, like what? But people, I think that are with products as well, right?
Yeah.
That are wanting to try something new and be cutting edge. Those are called what are those? They're called early adopters.
Yep.
And then you have the sneezers, which are the ones that they get the information, then they sneeze it all over everybody. You're gonna love this, and they want everybody to join the revolution that they started. And then at some point, it breaches this hill, and then it starts, plateauing out or whatever. But I'm not an early adopter. I'm one of those tried and true. Well,
Especially
McDonald's has made 1 billion hamburgers. I guess I'll try one. You're like,
exactly.
it's like it's finally reached the point where I'm okay with it.
and that might be the case that probably should be the case with supplements. Like
maybe see if they work first.
Yes. I just was wondering, Mark, can you give us a quick overview of what a co-packer is and what a co-packer does, co-manufacturer, however you like to call it, and just give us an overview in 1 or 2 sentences.
Okay. Ooh.
I know.
Maybe 3 sentences if you need it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to be counting my words. So co-packer, a co-manufacturer, a co-man are all the same thing. They're basically just the manufacturer that makes the product. So whether it's private label or white label, pre-formulated or a custom product, they're the group that's doing all the manufacturing for you, the brand, if you're not making your own stuff.
That was 1 sentence.
Basically.
It's a run-on sentence.
That's what I was going to say, but it still counted. Okay, I have my question for you.
Okay.
Can you please define the difference between private label, white label, pre-formulated, and custom formula, and the benefits of each? And I can repeat that.
Okay, well, let me see if I can do it from memory because I'm getting old and I want to make sure that I can remember things. So I'm going to test myself. So white label and private label, in my mind, are the same. They're usually products that a brand, like a manufacturer, keeps on the shelf at all times to be able to use and throw your label on it at any given point. Meaning a brand may make 5,000 or 10,000 bottles and they put it on their shelf and they're just sitting there until somebody shows up and says, I need 250 of those. And then they print up 250 of their labels. They pull the box off, they put their label on it and send it off. And they do that for a lot of brands. So you're not unique. Your brand isn't unique, but you lower MOQs. your margin may not be quite as good because you're kind of paying for that premium feature of lower MOQs. It's the barrier to entry is lower and the price is going to be less, and you don't have a ton of overhead, right? Cash flow is
sometimes speed as well.
That is true, but sometimes I've heard some horror stories where there was a rush on something and you anticipated it. A brand I keep saying a brand. A manufacturer advertises it as 2 to 4 week lead time. And somehow they had a rush on something that they ran low on. And now they're going to like make it right now. And it's going to take them really probably like 8 to 10 weeks. And now you're without product because you're used to just getting it in 2 weeks. So you got to kind of, it's not a fail safe, but it's usually fairly reasonable, I would think.
Well, the other thing that might be a challenge with a private label is you had mentioned manufacturers make maybe 5,000, 10,000 bottles that are waiting on the shelf. If they don't sell real great, they may pull that product.
You run out of point. Yeah,
you run out of your product, and now you don't have access to that formula anymore.
Right. Or yes. And then you'd have to, if you really wanted to keep it, then you'd have to go into custom manufacturing and you'd be stuck with the same MOQ you would on a custom. The other thing, I thought you were going to go a different direction with that. So, but what you said is facts. So I think the other side of that is if it doesn't sell really good, it's sitting on their shelf for a long time. And what's the expiration date? Like, are you buying a product that's been there for 18 months? Like, I don't know. That's the benefit of having a custom. It's made to order.
So also with a private label, how do you differentiate yourself on the market?
I've seen people do some cool stuff with a custom supplement just because they didn't know how the market would take to a particular brand. They're like, I think this product will be awesome. So I want you to make whatever the minimum is for me, but I want you to put 3 different labels on them, right? So they're like, I don't know, like we're going to go a conservative label, a kind of wild one, and another one that's kind of in the middle on the branding. And they'll test the market and see what sells best. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, right in the middle was the sweet spot. That brand really kind of took off. And then they sell it, which I kind of think has some genius behind it.
I totally agree.
Right? Like, but you're not unique when you have a stock product and there's no... I've seen some brands just connect with people. I've seen some ones that look like their label has been printed, and probably you guys, I would imagine you guys have to like at home, like literally. I used clip art from the late 90s and I created
nostalgic.
Right? Oh, some people are like, oh, throwback. Like, yeah, it looked like it was made in the 90s, and you're like, that's never gonna sell. And they get this crazy awesome following, and I'm like, man, there's one thing that I know is that I don't know.
I liked your question of like, what can I do to be more? I can't remember exactly how you put it, but how can I get my brand to stand apart when I'm using a private label formula? When I think of multivitamins are pretty much there's a lot of them out there. So when I go to choose a multivitamin, how much of my shopping decision comes down to like how cool the bottle looked or the brand? And like if they're both $10 a bottle, I definitely go for.
I'm a sucker for a good label.
Yeah.
But that was a great question. I loved that. That was a great question.
Okay, Mark, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Can you talk about what a custom formula is and what the pros and cons are for a custom formula?
Yes. So custom means it's unique to you. You've put some thought into this. You've looked at the market. You've saw the things. Hopefully they're wanting to make it effective, and it's your baby, right? You get to be a creator, and there's something awesome to that, especially when you start getting reviews and people are saying, wow, this has made a difference. Like in pet supplements, when you would formulate a pet supplement, the dog has no idea that their owner gave them this joint supplement, right? They just, some news on the food, looks like gravy, and they start eating it, but they're like all limping and they're terrible. And then all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, they're running around the backyard. That isn't placebo, right? Like that, like the dog had no idea that whatever they put on the food in the last 4 weeks makes them run, right? When you get that feedback, that feels really good. It feels like you've helped solve a problem for people, which is awesome. Exactly. You'd probably still feel that way too if you were doing a stock product, or a white label, or however we want to call them.
Right, because you help to get that product to
out
market.
there, and people are benefiting from that. But the custom thing is just I think it's cool. I think it gives ownership. I think you're unique. People can try to copy you if you get a lot of, runway with it and are successful. But the cons to that is your MOQ is going to be higher because it's your product. So they're making this one time. It's for you. Nobody else gets it. It's yours. So that part is a little bad. So your costs are a little bit higher. But ultimately, there sure is something to be said about just there's nothing else out there like this. And we did it.
Very cool.
So,
I agree.
What is a pre-formulated formula?
that's usually a stock product without being on the shelf, right? So you have a formula. The manufacturer typically already has them in key categories. Say, we'll just take joint supplement. You have a joint supplement. It's out there. They already know that it fits in the capsule at these levels and all the things. It flows. You reach out to a manufacturer. They say, yeah, we've got a joint supplement. We got a cognitive supplement. We got one that helps with anxiety, and we got one that does this. And it's already there, but it's not tangible yet. They have to go into a custom mode of manufacturing. So sometimes people know a category that they want to attack, but they don't know specifically the formula. And you can probably still make some tweaks with some of those if it's pre-formulated. If you're like, I don't like that ingredient a ton, it kind of gives you, I guess maybe like AI would, if you're like throw something out there and you're kind of like, I just want an outline. Okay, you gave me a good place to start, but I don't love it. But let me do this tweak. And that's kind of where a pre-formulated comes into play. So it would be more unique because it's not just sitting on the shelf. It's not readily available. It's subject to those things, but it gives you a good starting point to attack a category.
I love it. That's perfect.
That's fair. Who is a private label for versus who are custom formulas for?
Okay. Yeah, private label would be I'll just be blunt. If you don't have a huge budget or you're not sure how the market's going to respond to a particular product, those are good options for you. You buy a low MOQ. If for some reason it doesn't go well, you're not stuck with thousands of bottles sitting in a fulfillment center somewhere that you're paying on every month. If you're very confident, you've got the budget, custom should be your jam. Yeah, you should totally do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does every co-manufacturer offer a private label versus a custom formula?
No,
Okay.
I don't think.
The only reason I even put that in there as a question is I thought private label was much more prevalent. I don't think that a lot of manufacturers offer private label.
I think there's a handful of brands out there that do the private label thing, but I think it used to feel like the ratio of manufacturers that only did custom or had the stock products, it was maybe a little closer related. Now there's a lot of manufacturers out there. I think the ones that have outgrown the other is ones that are just doing custom stuff instead of doing the stock stuff.
Okay.
But they're out there, and usually there's a lot of those stock product manufacturers just do. That might be all they do. They don't do custom. You just come to them and this is all we offer. We've got 50 products and here's what we do. And they just are really good at making those products.
Right.
Yeah. As a manufacturer, do you prefer doing private label products or custom label products?
I don't know how honest I should be. The good thing about in manufacturing, one of the things that manufacturers love is making the same thing regularly because you get really good at running those same things. The supply chain's really good. Everything's can be really good. If you're always doing this new tweak, you can still be very good at it. It just takes a little bit extra effort to dial it in. And who doesn't want the path of least? Let me do that again. The path of least resistance. Of course, you want to do something that everybody does. The machines do, we do, whether it's supplements or playing sports. You want to do something that you're good at. So you can control specifically the ingredients that you want to do, meaning like if you're using botanicals, you want to use a certain type of botanical where somebody else might show up tomorrow and they want fenugreek this, but tomorrow somebody else shows up and they want fenugreek but this type of extract, and everything's just like slightly different. There's benefits to both. I think we like at Canyonside, we like to do custom stuff because mostly I think just because we like to
We're good at it.
Incentivize. Well, there's that, but I think we like to be part of new. And when people come to us, it's like, all right, like, okay, like that's cool. Like, let's try that twist. This is good stuff. So ultimately machines, just like everything, like they just want to run the same stuff because that's easy, but easy isn't always fun.
Stephanie, we're going to put this on you now.
Oh, dear.
I want you to recap what you just learned from Mark.
Ooh.
About
Nice.
Okay, so to recap today, what I learned is that private label, in 2 words, is speed and simplicity. And custom formula is ownership and differentiation on the market.
good
Wow.
job. Very nice.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank
Stephanie,
you.
that's amazing.
Also, question for you.
Okay.
If you could have the viewers take one thing away from this episode, what would you want them to take away?
To be excited about whatever process it is you're going to dive into, because passion trumps everything, right?
Yep.
And so whether you're going with a stock product and maybe that's just to get you in the door and you'll come out with a new and improved version, awesome. If you're super passionate about it. If you're going all in because you didn't find a stock product that you thought resonated with you and your brand, and so you're going in custom because you think you're going to add a unique perspective to the market, awesome. Whatever gets you out of bed in the morning and gets you excited about doing all the stuff, that's what's going to make your brand successful. Of course, it's got to have a good product behind it, but there's a lot of good stock products and there's a lot of great custom formulations. So I guess the long and short of it is whatever is going to make a difference in people's lives, including yours and the brands, and get people excited, then that's what you should do.
I love that. That's a perfect answer.
Well, you guys, thank you for spending time with us today. Thank you guys for hosting the show.
Thank you, Mark.
Very nice. Like this is your first, well, I guess the last episode was your first episode, but
This is my first official one, I feel like.
Super excited that you're taking this time to join us. This show would not be possible without your questions and comments. So we would ask you to please put your questions and comments in an email to us at info@canyonsidelabs.com, or put them in whatever platform you're watching this on. Put it in the comments and we'll try to respond to those in the show. We hope you will tune in next week when we will talk about what happens after I sign a manufacturing contract.
Very good.
contracts, that sounds scary.
It does sound
It's
scary.
not. It's definitely not.
Thanks for joining, you guys. We'll see you later.
So yeah.
Bye.